Thank you very much, guys, for joining in. So today we have Akshay Acharya with us, who was our student, and the entire purpose of having this session is that a lot of these students have queries how people who have successfully cleared the exam, how they are primarily, what all strategies they are using, how they are preparing for the exam, and what all problems they face. So this interview session is primarily done to address those questions, to address those queries, and to get a first account information for somebody who's recently cleared the exam and he can share his feedback, his idea with us. That's the entire purpose. And for this, we have one of our student, Akshay Acharya, who was able to clear the exam, both level one and level two, in the first attempt. And primarily, he will help us with the idea. And I'll just give you a brief about him. So he has completed his CA, he's a CA charter holder, and post which he applied for FRM. Okay. Thank you very much, Akshay, for joining us for today's session.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Akshay. So, primarily, we would like to have a small introduction of yourself with respect to your education background before CA and the CA time, and what exactly you were doing before doing FRM. So, quick snapshot about that.
Okay, so I come from a commerce background. So I completed my BCom, and then immediately within a year's time, within 2 years time, appeared for my CA final. I cleared my CA final and was searching for a job when I got to know about FRM. So I pursued it, and while doing FRM, I got a job and I completed my FRM post that. And currently, I'm right now pursuing CFA as well.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Thank you, Akshay, for this quick introduction. So, basically, coming to the question that a lot of our audience has is that we'll start with before FRM level one piece. Okay, so when you looked at the
Right.
FRM level one curriculum and you decided that you want to go for it, was there any query or is there any thought process or any issues that you felt from that perspective?
Okay. The first thing that when a friend introduced me to this course, that is something called as FRM. So he was like, we should pursue it. He and I both come from a CA background.
Mhm.
So we were just contemplating whether we were just evaluating FRM, CFA, or something else. So because just prior to that we had completed our CA. So when we were just evaluating, uh, we were just looking at the portions, what all topics have been covered, so
Okay.
that caught our interest, and we finally decided that we should complete FRM right now. The first thing that we should do is do that.
Okay. And did you see any similarity from your CA curriculum and FRM curriculum, or was there any differences that you felt that might create some issue for you? So, is there anything related to that?
Okay. Uh, if you see CA, we have a subject called as strategic financial management.
Right.
So, which basically covers your futures, derivatives, bonds. But it is just one of the subjects in a plethora of 8 subjects.
Right.
Like we have other subjects as auditing, accounting, cost accounting, and there's just one subject called as strategic financial management, which basically touches upon what all the concepts in finance, what is a
Right.
future, what is an option, how bonds work, how
Right.
future markets work. But if you see your FRM, it broadly revolves around that. Ki how do you hedge using futures? Uh, it's like an upscaling in our present curriculum. Like we just touch upon what is the future. Like here we saw how futures work, how are settlements done in a futures market.
Right.
Then we had things like we have a full cut full
Put call.
call put parity.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a call put parity, but it was just relating to European options. We in FRM we saw it was for American options as well. So it was a bit of upscaling. Now this I touched upon the similarity. Now in CA we do not have a quants part which we had in FRM. We have a purely a book on statistics,
Right.
uh, quants. Then in CA we touch upon risk at a what you can say initial or a basic level.
Right.
Here we saw a full-fledged book on risk management. What is enterprise risk management?
Right.
How enterprises view risk and how they mitigate that risk.
Okay. So that was something very new for you, right? And especially coming to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
topic of cons. Okay, since you
mm,
mentioned that you guys, it was not similar to what you would normally do in CA. So,
right, right,
was there a
right.
specific strategy that you used for that book, or how did you go about solving that book altogether? Was there any tips or trick that you used?
So basically, when we started with quants, we started with statistics, normal distribution, standard deviation. We have that at a very basic level in CA.
Okay,
So I was accustomed to those topics.
right.
But as things went further, there was hypothesis testing, then there were different levels of distribution, chi-square, then students t distribution.
Right.
So while we were doing it, it became very confusing. Ki how are these distributions different from each other?
Mhm.
Then how you build around an hypothesis, how you prove that a hypothesis is right or wrong.
Right.
So that part became a bit tricky for me to understand. So I would rather, what you can say, go round and round, round and round on it. So it was a bit confusing. So when you started uh, doing it in classes,
Mhm.
then I also started studying it. I really could tell the difference key when should we use a students t distribution, when we should use a chi-square distribution, and what is a log normal distribution. So that helped. Then again, I put a lot of efforts on quants as well, because I found that if there could be a problem, it would be in quants, because that is a that was a really what you can say, a bit difficult part for me to grasp, purely statistics. So I would spend a lot of time on that. I would solve a lot of sums on hypothesis testing and the distribution,
Linear
uh,
regression, time series.
linear regression, yes, time series,
And
uh, those topics.
do you guys face any problem with respect to calculator? Because the calculator is also very different from CA, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. So we use a financial calculator in FRM. So the thing is that, yeah, it becomes a bit difficult if you're not accustomed to it.
right,
So you had also suggested in class that we should ideally be comfortable with our calculator, because that is the thing that is going to help us in our, what you can say, during the exam. If we have a comfort on our calculator, we
mhm,
can solve it very easily. So the different functions like memory and all, because in exam it is not possible to write every step that you do. You have to just do it, save it in memory, and then go forward.
right, right. So similarly, so basically to summarize the point, so like you mentioned, from CA, you had the basics about futures and options, a bond valuation, which
Right,
is your SMM subject. But obviously, FRM
right.
had few pointers which were higher. So definitely
That-
that made
yes,
it
yes, yes.
slightly challenging for
Yeah. So it goes a one or two levels up from CA.
you. Right, right. So basically, you are studying that book again, but at a higher level, right?
Yeah, because it goes into niche of finance.
Right, right. And also, the book two that you focused upon was a bit of a trouble
Quants.
because
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
you got to read about statistics in your entire CA curriculum in detail. So that become a bit
Yeah.
problem, but definitely you focus more on that. You identified your weakness beforehand, and you
Right.
uh, focused on the part of which is specific to your this, right? So that is good. Then what
Yeah.
about other subjects? So what was your preparation strategy for your FRM level one?
So for FRM level one, we primarily focused on book three and book four. Those carry the highest weightage in the exam.
Right.
So So book three, I was a bit comfortable because those were topics that we had covered in CA,
Mhm.
and there was some part that was new in it, but it was manageable. Book four then again goes VAR, which was the different VAR. Book four is basically valuation and VAR. So
Okay.
that also we focus because it carries a higher weightage in your exam. So book three and book four was overall the what you can say, the focus areas for the for FRM exam. I felt trouble in quants, so I used to focus a lot on it as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so I used to practice a lot of sums on quants.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And one more quick thing. So with respect to your FRM, like you mentioned that your focus was on primarily a book three and book four because of the weightage side. Okay. But
Hmm,
and
hmm,
coming to your FRM level one exam, okay,
hmm,
uh,
hmm, hmm,
you
hmm.
felt that there were a lot of questions in the exam. a lot of quantitative piece in the exam, and was it a mix of theory?
Uh, it was a mix of theory and quants.
Okay, okay, okay.
So, when I gave my attempt, a lot of questions were just plug and play. So
Okay,
they were like you put the formula. Some questions were tricky,
okay,
but
okay,
there were a lot of plug and play questions, and there were a lot of theory as
okay.
well.
So out of around 100 questions within 4 hours, so
Uh,
were you able to clear everything in the 4 hours? I mean, were you able to
Actually,
solve
time.
every 100 questions properly? Was that the case?
Okay, so there, I this was my thing that when I came into this FRM and I heard that there was you were given 100 questions and there was 4 hours for it. So I found it like 100 questions, 4 hours. That's a lot of time because even if you take it goes around 240 minutes for 100 questions. So
Right.
roughly 2.4 minutes per question. So I was like, कि अरे ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा time है. But as in when you start solving the questions, when you read them, you actually know the what you can say the intensity of the question that they are not as easy as they seem. So really, if you see, even 4 hours don't feel enough. So
Mhm.
you really need to manage your time. You need to do whatever questions you feel are easy, solve them first and foremost, and whatever you find tricky, you do it only when you have done sufficient questions.
Right.
Because if you spend so much time on that, there will be a problem that you may not able to attempt your paper.
Right. So what was that number that you were comfortably able to solve? I'm just trying to understand so that people can realize that it might not, sometimes it might not be possible to solve the entire 100 question and not to get disheartened. That was my idea to ask you this question. So what was that number that
Right.
you could comfortably solve in the exam?
So I was comfortably solve around 75 to 80 questions.
Okay.
Of that, if I break the remaining 20, there were 10 questions that I did not understand. So they were like, I have to attempt it.
Hmm.
I cannot leave it blank.
Right.
So, and the remaining 10 really came down to the what you can say pressure period of the remaining last few minutes of the exam.
Hmm.
So they were like, you cannot think clearly, but you just have to solve those, right? Like that.
Some calculated guess and you try to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
answer
yeah.
you found. Okay.
Yes,
Great,
yes,
great.
yes.
So, and after FRM level 1, you primarily started immediately with FRM level 2, if I'm not wrong, right? So
Yeah, because
once that, yeah, so once that started, so for FRM level 2, was there any similarity with your CA curriculum that you felt?
no, definitely not. Yeah, it involves a lot of futures and derivatives, but nothing per se related to CA.
Okay.
Because if you see level 2 goes into the niche of risk as well, the credit risk, market risk, investment risk, your ops risk. So there are like I cannot say that entire 100% is similar to CA. Yes, there may be some topics that are covered,
Right.
but not the entire 100%.
Okay. Okay. And so, what was your strategy for FRM level 2? Because you had operation risk, you had your credit risk, you had market risk, and also the smaller part of current issues. So, how did you go
Right.
about solving for it?
So I first analyze what subjects I'm comfortable with, which means as in what book I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
So as in when we were studying, so we actually I actually had all the four books. So we just analyzed the what all topics are covered in each book, and and I tried to what you can say
Hmm.
uh, identify my strengths and weaknesses. Like I was good in credit risk, so that was a point of strength for me. I was interested in risk investment analysis, so I could find it very comfortable. Okay, I can understand it by giving it a little more effort. Market risk was something that was a challenging part for me.
Right.
Then ops risk, if you see, becomes a what you can say in terms of volume, it becomes a very big book, and it is actually a very big book.
Right. It's very
It
theoretical.
covers a lot of
Yeah.
it covers a lot of topics. So if you are not comfortable with theory, then there's a chance that you have to put in extra efforts for ops risk as well.
Right.
So So when I was preparing for my level two, my focus was I'll first cover what I'm comfortable with, that is my credit risk
Okay.
and investment analysis.
Right.
And then the last few days that are remaining, I'll just focus on market risk and ops risk. That you cannot leave them, and you cannot leave any topic per se in your exam, because something will come from each topic.
Hmm.
So that is a broader strategy, that you identify your strengths, you identify where your weaknesses lie, and you work upon that.
Okay. And so before the exam, were you able to get proper holidays and for level two? Is there a
Mm,
clear
no, actually, level two came at a time when we have a audit pressure. So not really. I just got around 10 days leave before my exam. So in that time, I had to study the topics that I didn't do during the didn't do before, and then also revise the topics that I did.
okay.
So time management at that time was really challenging.
Okay. Okay.
Plus, there are times that sometimes you may get an office call, and some part of the
Yeah.
time gets lost in that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
primarily when you knew that there might be some audit pressure, so you started out very early and you went through
Yes.
the concepts.
So immediately after the results, we had started with classes. So there was a brief period of time, say for a month, when we could identify what all the topics are covered, how much time will it require to actually cover those topics. Then you need to actually get accustomed to what all topics are there in level 2,
Right.
because level 1, if you say, it covers risk at broad. There
Right.
is no niche: market risk, credit risk, investment risk. Then there is also some part of current issues that crops up, that is new in level 2.
Right.
It is not covered in level 1, because if you see, five or six questions come from current topics as well, so you really cannot ignore that portion of investment risk. So if you see, if you broadly divide the 80 learning topics that there is in level 2, you need to really manage your time in such a way that you cover most of it. Like you have to do current risk current market issues as well, investment risk as well. Ops risk will take a lot of time, because it, quantity wise, it is much higher than the other three,
Right. Right. Right.
that way.
So primarily your FRM level two was very vast, right? That's in terms of
Right,
the
right,
questions.
right, right,
In
right.
exam, you'll find only 80 questions, but 4 hours.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what was your experience in level two exam?
So the level 2 exam was really a level upgraded. In literal terms, it was a level upgraded. So when we sat for the exam, I clearly could remember myself like, oh shit, we are doomed right now. Because that was the case when I just started reading the question paper, that I was like, I was going blank for a few minutes. Yeah, I don't know, I don't know. Then you just really need to, what you can say, assemble all your strength and do it. So it it may seem to people, and it seemed to me as well, like, yeah, it is the same hours but lesser questions. But actually, if you actually see it, it is a new level altogether. So you just cannot say, "Ha, 80 questions there ho jayega." No, it is not that. It is not that easy.
Right. 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 Because they generally try to combine two three books and take
Yeah.
one question and takes questions are much bigger
So, so,
compared to
so,
level
so
one.
if you see, a lot of questions come as a case study. A person A is working in a bank. He faces this challenges. The question part is in the form of paragraph,
Right.
and then you need to analyze. And usually, the what you can say, options are such that there are slightest differences into options. So you are really confused whether it is B or whether it is C. So that time you need to have a lot of conceptual clarity. What was the what is the what you can concept that is covered, and what should be the ideal answer to it, whether it should be B or C, because there is a slightest difference in the, what you can say, the choices that are given to you.
And that's where I think so your preparation will come into picture, where we have
Yes,
gone through the
yes,
book
definitely,
wise and solved
definitely.
the question.
And I believe a lot of people second guess themselves during exams, level 1, level 2, and there they spend a lot of time. They feel that it is B, and then they, no, it should be C, and there they get confused and may end up choosing the wrong answer.
And also end up spending a lot of time in just looking at
Yes,
one
yes,
question.
Yes.
Definitely, definitely. So, looking at FRM level 2, okay. Now,
Right.
if I ask you in a different way, uh, what about so market risk? Like you said, you were facing difficulty. So,
Right.
you primarily focused on that in the last 2 months primarily, right? And in the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks, you were not primarily getting time. So, how did you prepare or revise during that entire 2 weeks time before the exam? So, what
So,
was your strategy on this?
what strategy I would do is I would start studying at roughly around 8. So I would cover all the 4 books in a day. How whatever topics I could cover. If but I made a focus that initially I would cover a lot of credit risk and investment risk
Mhm.
because those were things that I was comfortable with and I would not spend a lot of time doing it.
Right, right.
So, so initially I used to allot a lot of time to those, and the remaining time I used to cover market risk and some part of ops risk. And if I would probably end up studying till 8, obviously taking a few breaks here and there. Post 8, after having dinner, I used to revise what I did during the entire day. Because if you just go on reading and you don't revise, there's a chance that it may you may be overwhelmed because there are a lot of topics and you may really get confused. Ki, what you did today, what is to be done,
Right.
and in the formulas and everything. So it is necessary that you revise a lot of things because you may do it in the first, you may do it first, you may do it second time, but if you don't revise it,
Hmm.
there's a chance that you may not able to retain it and reproduce it during your exam.
Right. This is a good strategy. I mean, reading the entire three, four books quickly on the important topics or topics that you see, and then doing a quick revision at the end of the day. So this is
Yeah.
something very different that not lot of people are doing, but if it is helping, then definitely you should do it. And coming to after FRM, what has been your journey and what all things you are doing?
Okay, so I got a job while I was doing my FRM level 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I got an offer from the firm that I did my articleship from.
Okay.
So I joined them. I am primarily in audit, but post FRM, while also doing CFA, I am being given opportunity in valuation as well. So I do a valuation assignment as and when it comes. Then FRM has also helped me to do a lot of what you can say, understand a lot of things. Like now really after passing FRM, we know what is the market risk, what is the liquidity risk,
Mm-hmm.
what all risk that enterprises face.
Right.
So that helps a lot. Then in even in CA, what you can say, day-to-day CA work,
Right.
there's a lot of things that become easy to grasp and understand, especially if you see that a lot of standards deal with your credit loss,
Yes.
expected credit
Yes.
loss.
Yes. Yes.
So which is covered in your FRM level 1. What is your probability of default? What is your exposure of default?
Right.
And what is your loss given default? And what all the how credit models are, what you can say, placed to calculate credit loss. So that really helps you in understanding a lot of things and makes things easier for you.
Okay.
And as you mentioned before, that I am currently pursuing my CFA level 1 as well. I did my level 1 and I was supposed to appear for level 2. So I find it level 2 level 2 covers your hypothesis testing as well, which
Very
I have
interesting.
already done in FRM. Yeah. So it becomes easy. You don't spend a lot of time doing it right now because you have already covered it, you have studied it in detail. So it really becomes like a cakewalk right now. So do it. So yes, FRM helped me in enhancing myself, enhancing my skills, enhancing my knowledge. And right now, I feel I'm in a better position to complete what I've started.
Okay. Okay. And with respect to jobs in other banks or other sector, did you try doing it?
Yeah. No, actually, I was not actively searching for a job even after my FRM level 2. I felt that I needed some more time before I actually searched for a job in risk or finance.
Okay.
So, given the conditions that I'm still studying, I prefer to keep my current job as it also allows me to study. Like I can really manage all those things while studying.
Perfect.
So I was not actively looking, but yes, a lot of times people look at your profile on Naukri and LinkedIn, and they just give you a call that we have this vacancy at this position.
Okay.
So whether you are interested, yes. And even during current Corona period, also there are openings. There are calls that come to you.
Okay. And that is coming primarily for your risk related role, is it? Yep.
Yeah. Risk related roles, regulatory capital roles, uh,
Okay. Okay.
that way.
So primarily your CA plus your FRM, which has a core focus on risk, is primarily making you attractive for the employers in terms of getting those roles. And right now in this situation also. Okay.
Right.
That's wonderful to know. And I also urge people to put on a lot of data with respect to whatever certifications they have done on their CV on LinkedIn. Make it visible for the employers to understand that there is someone who's already completed. There might be a potential candidate in him. So that is definitely needed in on all the platforms wherever you are professionally available. You should make
Right.
sure that those details are available, right? So I would like to thank you, Akshay, for giving your time and guiding the audience who will be looking at the video in terms of how preparation should be done, how what should be your strategy, and even if you were a CA, there was some problems that you felt, you tried to solve that problem, how to overcome. So all of these things, thank you very much for sharing and putting that
Uh,
forward. And we definitely look forward to have more sessions wherein you will help us with some industry related information in future and all those stuff, right?